Barepipe community. Welcome back to the Barepipe channel. 2 weeks ago, I posted what I said was going to be the last video in the Brigham pipe restoration, and I showed you how I used pipe mud to repair a gurgling issue in the pipe that was a result of a bad tobacco chamber construction. I wanted to clarify a few things about that, and based on some of the comments I received, I also realized that I actually need to do one more step on this video before I wrap this project up. So, firstly, pipe gurgling. I did not clarify in that video sufficiently, or at all actually, that there are many causes for pipe gurgling, not just one. This is one of them, the one that I addressed. A badly constructed tobacco chamber can definitely cause gurgling, and it's often the cause for it, but it's not the only one. And there is one other major cause for pipe gurgling, but there are a few smaller ones too. So you may actually fix your pipe chamber that's badly constructed and still have a pipe that gurgles because of some other issues, either through another construction issue or through the way that you smoke your pipe. Often, pipe gurgling is also a result of a bad shank to tenon connection or uneven diameters between the shank and the stem. And it's essentially basic physics. If you expand air quickly, it cools down and condensates. That's what causes rain. And that's the principle on which calabash pipes, Peterson system pipes, all the pipes that has an expansion chamber in it works. They actually allow the smoke to expand, allows it to cool down, drops out the moisture, and then you get a drier smoke. Now, sometimes a badly constructed pipe does that unintentionally, but because the chamber is not properly constructed, the moisture actually gets sucked back up into the stem. And this often happens between the end of the tenon and the shank, where if the tenon doesn't seat properly at the bottom of the shank, you actually create a small little chamber in there where the air expands, and then you have some moisture that builds up there. That's often a cause for gurgling as well. Other causes could be that you smoke your pipe too fast, or maybe you're just a goopy smoker that puts too much spit into your pipe, or your pipe tobacco may be too wet. So there's a variety of things there that you could look at if you have a gurgling problem. First one would be to check your tobacco chamber. Second one would be to check that your shank and your tenon length match up so that they seat properly. Third one would be to see that you don't have some sudden changes in diameter between the shank and the stem inside. Fourth one would be to look at your smoking cadence. Fifth one would be to look at the humidity of your tobacco, to name a few. So, putting that aside, I also got a comment from Piping and Camping who asked me to show the final step in the process, which is to put a tobacco chamber coating over the pipe mud. Now, I naively assumed that everybody has seen every video that I've ever made, which of course is ridiculous. And I have enough videos on this channel now in the library that there is probably quite a few of you has not seen all my videos. I have addressed tobacco chamber coatings in the past in a previous video, but I'm going to do it again because clearly there is a need for it. So I'm going to go through it again today. I'm going to show you how I do my tobacco chamber coating, what it's made up out of, peeling back the mystery of this and just showing you exactly how simple it really is. Now, before I get into it, just a few comments on chamber coatings. This is something that some people absolutely hate, and it's something that some people are relatively indifferent to, and some people love it. There's a good reason why some people hate it, because some people's body chemistry causes them to taste the chamber coatings, and it makes it unpleasant for them to smoke the pipe. So one of the things that to me is important about a chamber coating is that it is very easy to remove. And the particular recipe that I use, you can dampen a towel or a cloth, and you can just rub it out with a wet cloth, and it will come out and is easy to remove if you don't want it. The second thing that's really important is that it is food safe. And food safe to me also means you don't have some weird chemicals in there. So I use organic sour cream. I use activated charcoal that is medically graded for you to be able to swallow. So it's a totally food safe product. It's not giving you some kind of weird chemical concoction. The final thing about this is why I put it in. I typically work with older estate pipes. Some of these are old-timers, some of them are fairly fragile, some of them has had bowls that's been put through the ringer and has been abused mercilessly. And I ream them back to bare wood to be able to inspect that bowl. And if I put the tobacco chamber coating in there, I give that bowl a chance to be brought back to life and to be broken in again without it burning out, because some of these bowls have been through some rough times and are pretty fragile, and that just gives it that little bit of a chance to make it. Now, if you don't like the tobacco chamber coatings, by all means take them out, don't use them. If you don't taste them, I would recommend that you use them on any new pipe that you have or any estate pipe that you've cleaned, because it's just that added little bit of protection to stop the pipe from burning out when you break it in again. So let me show you how I do it. I'm going to show you what we've got down there. You can see the pipe mud as it's now dry, and it is rock hard. So the final step in here is now to cover the edges of the bowl and the bottom with a bit of a bowl coating. And I'm going to show you what I use for that. We're starting off with some organic sour cream and some activated charcoal. I've had questions in the past about the organic sour cream, and people have asked me whether it goes rancid when you put it on and you let it dry. I've never had that happen. It usually just dries, or for me at least, has always just dried to a relatively hard paste that sits on the surface of the bowl without any issues. So I'm going to take a little bit of the, sorry, I just want to clean that bowl out. There we go. Take a little bit of sour cream. You don't need a lot. You just need a dollop. That's probably far too much already. Like a half a teaspoonful. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab a couple of these charcoal capsules. And we're going to empty that out in there. Be careful with your fingers. This activated charcoal, it's food grade, is really, really fine. If you're not careful, it gets really messy really quickly. Okay, and now we're going to just stir this in. And what I'm looking for is a nice gray paste that is fairly stiff. The charcoal, of course, is what gives the protection to the bowl, and the sour cream is really just a vehicle to deliver it. And what happens with this paste is you put it on, you allow it to dry. So what I've got here is about a third of a teaspoon, somewhere between a half and a third of a teaspoon in 2 of these capsules, and that's just about right. I want a nice dark gray paste like this. I may see if I can just put a little more charcoal in there. The higher the charcoal content, the better, because it's the charcoal that's actually doing the work. So just like a half a capsule there. So the more you can get in there, the more it protects the bowl. And what happens is it does two things. One, it protects the edge of the bowl, the surface of the bowl during that burning period to stop the wood from burning. But secondly, it also promotes the growth of cake in the initial stages. There we go. So it's almost black. You see, it's nice and uniform. And so what I'm going to do with this is I need a pipe cleaner. I'm just going to take the stem out for a second. You need a pipe cleaner in there. You can see I've put it in so that it just pokes through, because you don't want to block the draft hole. And I'm going to, with the spatula, I'm just going to smear some on like that. And then I'm going to take a little brush and I'm going to start to work it in there. Working it into the bottom of the... And I don't care about being a little messy right now, because we'll clean it up when we're done. And what you're looking for is a uniform, even coat. And you want to make sure, to me the important thing is that you get the bottom covered fully where the pipe mud is. And you can see I'm just kind of dragging it up from the base. Very lightly. Okay. You see it makes a little bit of a mess on the top. I'll wash the brush afterwards. And so here's what I do for that is I just turn it on a paper towel, and that cleans off the top nicely. And then when I'm done, I turn the pipe cleaner and I drag it out. And then I just want to make sure the bottom is entirely smooth. There we go. And we're done. So the bowl is now going to sit for a couple of days. I usually let it sit for at least 3 days to dry out, just in room temperature inside. And then the pipe is ready to smoke.